Hi, my name is Carly Peterson, and this is my DSARI Home Energy Audit for BBE 2201. So just a little context before we start. I wanted to sort of compare my findings with the national average. So I headed to the EIA website, which is the U.S. Energy Information Administration website, to look at sort of what they had on there about energy consumption in the U.S. And they had an average, which was 914 kilowatt hours per month, and that was taken, state by state. Some states had a higher average, some states had a lower average, but the overall national average was 914. And then I also sort of looked at this chart here, which was really helpful for me to see sort of where the energy breaks down. And I found that the majority is for space heating. I specifically looked at the second section there for the single family detached because that's what my house is. I noticed that the space heating took up most of the energy, but the other category, or the all other category, took up about 21% of the average consumption, and that is sort of where the appliances I measured were. So then just a little background into my home. My house is 2 stories, and we have 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, and 3 residents, and we have 1 kilowatt meter now. So this is my smiling face and kilowatt meter with every measurement I took. To do these measurements, I just plugged the kilowatt meter in to measure the watts of each appliance. And the appliances I measured, which correspond to my pictures starting in the upper left, are lamp, hair dryer, hair curler, humidifier, alarm clock, coffee maker, toaster, and my turntable, which plays my vinyl records. So then these are my measurements for how often I used these. I paid a lot more attention to how much I was using things, made sure to turn things off when I wasn't using them. So I think this is entirely accurate because I was just a lot more conscious of my energy consumption when doing this. So this is my overall energy usage. So for all the appliances were constant power, but the coffee maker and the humidifier did have some phantom power, so these are those measurements, and I took those into account when making my calculations. Alright, and then how I found my totals was by taking the weekly averages from my last chart, and then multiplying those numbers by the watts of each appliance to get the watt hours per day and for on and off. And then I divided that by 1,000 to get the totals in kilowatts instead of watts, and then multiplied by 30 to get the monthly averages. And I sort of determined that the appliances I measured, because they only contributed to about 1 kilowatt hour per day of energy and to about 32 kilowatt hours per month of energy use, they definitely fit into that all other category that made up about 21% of energy usage. And I also compared this household's electric energy usage from last month, which was 1,540 kilowatt hours per month, to the national average, which was 914. And I found that ours was quite a bit higher than the national average. So that was just sort of interesting to me. And then just to summarize, the largest user of energy was my hairdryer, actually, even though I didn't use it that often. And the smallest user was my turntable. And the measurements for those are 12.69 kilowatt hours per month for the hairdryer and 0.22 kilowatt hours per month for the turntable. And then I also noticed that the coffee maker was the largest user of energy while in the off state. It contributed about 158.56 watt hours per day, or 4.75 kilowatt hours per month, which is pretty sizable considering that it was only about 32 kilowatt hours per month total. So I decided that to cut down, the best ways would be letting my hair air dry and unplugging appliances when not in use. And then a final summary. This is my household average compared to the average of the appliances I took. Obviously, 32.89, which is the average of appliances I took, is just a fraction of 1,540, and I determined that's once again just because I took items from the all other category rather than the larger categories like space heating and refrigeration, which would account for a much larger section of that monthly average. And here are my sources.